I'm waiting. I'm looking at like 3 monitors, waiting for the show to start here, start on this app, and this platform, that platform. But it is the Wednesday Night Live show, and we are back. Yes, look at Michelle smiling. She's eager and ready to go. Oh, let me stop that right there because we don't want to hear John's voice twice. That's annoying as hell. But yeah, we're back. Mr. Timmy is with us, and Tim.
I was going to change my screen name to Terry Swift.
No, it wasn't Terry. We established that it was not Terry. If you listen to it,
I'm joking. I figured I'd keep the joke rolling. So
I won one. I won one for the people that have linguistic. See right there,
linguistics,
linguistic issues with their words. I won one. I won one there. People out there.
I think John just has a massive speech impediment. I think that's
it's just it's my tongue. I think it's the 57-year-old tongue that's just tired. So it just does like, yeah, just get half the word out. Someone will figure it out. There's a Tim wherever you go. So even at work, I have a Tim there. So I'll say a word and at work, and I'll go like this, and I'll look over and I get corrected. So I got one. I need one on a daily basis.
Yeah, I run into a few here and there.
Oh, I'm sure Tim is that guy at the party that's just correcting everyone. It's like, dude.
That's all I do. I'm like I'm just, all I do is I just kind of walk around with a drink in my hand and just sort of like slide in and eavesdrop on what people are saying. And the moment there's a grammatical error, I step right in and I throw a yellow flag, blow the whistle.
He throws it down. Yeah. Are you referring to there, or there? Which there are you using?
I go, illegal motion of the mouth. Dude in the blue jacket, that's a 10-yard penalty, and take a shot, take a drink, and the proper word is
drink.
The proper word is whom, not who. Whom. Okay.
Whom. Or what is it? Whatever. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. Let me make sure. Let me do this real quick because I'm going to make sure it is playing on UNIAO, and it is playing on UNIAO, right, guys?
Yeah, I saw us moving on YouTube.
Yeah, so it must be working. Yeah. We are moving. Michelle, it's frozen on Michelle's smile, so we're good to go. What are we going to talk about today? Well, I got 2 topics and then just open topics. You guys out there, share what you want us to talk about tonight, and we'll do our best to answer some of your questions. But we have the Jim McDonald article. What epidemic? Youth vaping dropped 23% in the past year. Dun, 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 dun. I need that sound effect, Michelle. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And there we go. Michelle, just do it. Every time I finish a sentence, Michelle will just go dun 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 dun. And then I don't know, Timmy. I don't know if Timmy brought this one up last week, but the Minnesota AG threatens to prosecute retailers of illegal vapes. Well, did you bring that article up before, or am I like having deja vu?
I don't think I talked about that one. Okay, I do think we had an article on C-stores and stuff like that, but I don't recall that one. I actually did quarantine a few articles myself, so we have plenty of story time and content to talk about. But absolutely, like you said, John, we like to hear from our friends in the chat. So whatever you guys want to talk about, it could be off topic. That's okay. We can talk. Yeah. You can ask questions about John and his speech impediment. I'd be happy to answer.
Yes. I'm working on it. I'm getting help, people. I'm getting help. I've noticed that when I take a little bit of cocaine and rub it on my gums, it helps a little. So maybe that's
like you know what I've always fervently said that I don't like cocaine. I just like the way it smells.
That's it. I just like the way it smells. Dude, I know someone that has that tattoo on their body. That's saying, on their body, dude. I'm like, dude, really? Come on, man. He goes, the 80s, man. The 80s, bro. The 80s.
Yeah, the 80s were a long time ago. That might be a no regrets tattoo. You know what I mean?
Oh, man. We got that. Your questions, and we're just going to jump in. I'm not going to start with Tim because that's just not fair for Michelle. So because Michelle and I do not live this lavish lifestyle Mr. Tim has. So we're going to start with Michelle. Michelle, how is your week going so far?
Well, it goes.
How am I going to top that, John?
I don't know.
How could I ever top that?
I might have to go before you, Tim.
About the most exciting thing I had is my dad broke his foot, his ankle in two areas,
Whoa.
front in the both sides, and he was scheduled to. He's 86, so
Yeah.
he needed to get off meds and things before they'd take him into surgery, and
Yep.
they had scheduled it for Wednesday today, and the storm hit, so they had to reschedule it. So he's been at
Mm,
home this whole time, and now he has sitters because they put a boot on him, and he still can't walk, and blah blah. And now it's scheduled for next Monday. So
yeah. Well,
we'll see
he's
how
in
it
my
works.
prayers, Michelle. Your dad's in my prayers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But we'll
tough.
see how that works. So I've been kind of juggling that and other things. So
Yeah.
that's my life, folks. I don't have one.
Yeah. Well, our dad, to most of us, our dad's Superman, and it's difficult to see
not
them
here,
not.
though.
Yeah, not seeing them like we just remember all those times they picked us up and rubbed our heads or rubbed our knees and said, "Oh, you're okay," and just made us feel good about life in general. And women, my dad was great. He's a great teacher of women. Timmy, I'm going to go before you.
Yeah,
He said, listen, son, listen. I was like, I am listening, Dad. Yeah. My week is going good. My week is over. Today is my Friday, so when I go to work tonight at 9 o'clock till 5, it's my Friday. I got nothing done. We're having we're having a heat wave here. It's just it's September, and we're still at 104, 105, 106, 107. So the AC is still running, but it's just too hot, and I swear to God, guys, I go outside to do yard stuff. I swear to God, I got the drink, I got the full ice, and I'm going to do this yard work. And then I get out there, and I have this long walkway in my driveway. And then as soon as I get out and I'm no longer in the shade and that sun hits me, it's just like, you know what? I'll just get the mail and go back inside. And that's what I end up doing. So I haven't got any yard work done at all. But yeah, that's it. And I'm looking to get a new car. So I've been debating the car situation. I love my little Honda, but I feel like I need something now that I can put 5 screaming grandkids in, and kind of separate them a little bit, with third row seat, something like that. So I've been looking. Yes, don't hate me out there, people. I am looking at a Tesla. So don't hate. Don't hate.
You're gonna ruin the environment.
Yeah.
You're gonna bog down our electric supply. Like there's only one charger on the whole planet. You know this, right?
Yeah, it's called the one that PG&E that we pay for.
No, actually,
I'm looking at them.
I'd like to drive one just for the sake of it.
Yeah, I am 40 miles, less than 40. I'm 35 miles to and from work, and that's nothing. And then when my grandkids are here, I feel like I want to go and take them places, but it's just been like they get in the car, the Honda, and I feel like they're all bunched in there. So, and no, Aiden's touching me. Oh, Bella's picking her nose. Hey, Elena's hitting me. Elena's knee is touching. Yeah, I just can't. I can't. It's like a flashback when my kids were younger, and screaming at each other. And I would put the sister, my poor daughter, in between the two boys, which was not good. She got beat up a lot. But that's it. That's right.
In my family's car, nobody wanted to be in the middle seat because Dad would turn around and beat us.
Well, she was safe. She was Daddy's girl. She never got a spanking in her life. The boys, that's a whole different thing.
They got the belt.
All right, everybody, sit down because you're about to get like 10 minutes of super exciting information on Tim's elaborate lifestyle. He is the HOA board member of the community that he lives in. He runs the show there like Stalin ran.
I rule with an iron fist, John. I rule with an iron.
You got the iron fist tattoo on your body too.
I'm gonna put all these. I'm gonna put all these busybody, nosy Karens and Chads in their place.
whether
Maybe
he's
that's what I need, is a
yeah,
tattoo with that on it. You think
yeah.
that'd help me, Tim?
Yeah, I didn't. You know what? Like, some people go to the tattoo parlor and they get like, a commemorative tattoo that like says "mom" or something.
Mhm.
I'm not. I'm gonna get HOA, heavy or something.
And the
I
red
don't know.
iron
Rules.
fist,
Yeah.
the red iron fist.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, everyone, whether he's chasing bears or at some roadie in a concert and just living this life, let's say hello to Mr. Tim,
Jack of
the
all trades,
art
master of none.
walking
John. Jack of all trades, master of
Jack
none.
O'Troy. He is the
Oh my
linguistic
goodness.
master here as well.
He's,
He corrects
he-
all my grammar and yeah.
Yeah,
Timmy,
I have the most confusing resume on the planet. Like, it's probably why I struggle to find a job sometimes, because they're like, "What does correcting English have to do with any of this? I'm trying to hire you to run my operation."
It's big. It's
Well,
big.
just know that your English is going to be good coming
Well,
out of that warehouse. Where do I start? Oh
I
my
don't know.
goodness,
Sit
there's
down,
just
everybody.
so
Sit down.
much. There's so much, and I don't want to belabor anybody with just long-winded stories about bears anymore, because I kind of feel like that had kind of run its course. So unfortunately, no more bear stories.
Oh,
I do have an Elmo story, but I'll save that for another show. I rescued Elmo not that long ago. Being the wonderful HOA representative that I am, I saved Elmo from the scathing, sizzling sidewalk the other day. So he's safe here in the house. He has not yet been claimed. I did post about it on the HOA Facebook page.
website.
I'm hoping that sooner or later someone will come and rescue Elmo, because he only has one other. If he doesn't get claimed, he only has one other existence on this planet, and he will then belong to the ravages of 2 miniature dachshunds, and it's not going to end. It's not going to end well. It's just not going to end well.
No.
Okay, so where do I start? Lots. So this past weekend, Friday and Saturday, Elena and I were the proud participants and festival goers. We went to it's actually a 4-day festival. Yes, that's exactly how when I go hang out at a festival, that's what I do. I have someone just light a bunch of paper on fire behind me, and and I just get into like an emo crouch, emo screamo crouch mode, and just pretend like I'm playing the meanest lead guitar you've ever seen in your life. So if you see that at the show, come up, say hi. It's just me. It's just me. So we went to it's a 4-day festival. It happens annually. I don't know what number they're on right now. 20, 35, 25.
Nice.
A lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's an annual festival here in Atlanta called Prog Power USA. And it's for all you progressive metalheads, progressive rock, progressive metalheads. Dream Theater. Think Dream Theater. If you listen to them, that's progressive. And then you have varieties of that. And then they mix and they sprinkle in some other stuff too, like some just straight metal, power metal, a little bit of everything. So you get to go see a lot of dynamic prog bands from all over the world. It's not just US based bands. So you get bands from Japan, bands from Sweden, bands from all over Scandinavia, Norway, Finland, the list goes on. And so one of the highlights this year, which is why we got tickets, was because Elena's favorite band is a band called Winger, which everyone would know who Winger is, right? Everybody remembers Kip Winger from back in the day. Everyone remember Beavis and Butthead and how we were supposed to ridicule Winger. And I will admit, I fell victim to that as a younger lad growing up. But Winger played the festival. They were not the headliner for that night. It was on Saturday night, but they did perform the 30th anniversary of their album called Pull, which most people don't know this record because it's not 17, it's not Madeline, it's not Easy Come, Easy Go, it's not all the stuff that you heard in the movies or on the radio growing up. So it was a little bit more of I wouldn't call it an obscure album. It just didn't do very well. It was a little bit ahead of its time. It was a little bit darker, a little bit more neural. But anyway, so they came and performed that, and Elena was just thrilled to be able to see that. She actually got front row. Like it's a GA festival. It's general admission. So they do have a VIP component to it, but it's not like they get their own pit and then you get separated from people. It's not like that. Everything is general admission. All the seats in the theater are general admission. So you
Nice.
can kind of sit if
Yeah,
you want to
walk
sit. You
around.
can stand if you want to sit. You can walk around. You can try to get as close as you want. You can stand back. You can do whatever you want. So she was dying to see this. It's her favorite album of all time, by
Nice.
Winger. And the Winger's up there for her with Rat, pretty close. Rat's pretty close second, but Winger. So she got right up on the, right up front, right up on the stage. So she was stoked. I'm a little bit older and in fear of breaking
a
things,
hip.
arthritic issues that come up during shows and stuff. So I stood in the back, but the sound was great. So it was a fantastic show. Got to meet a couple of her friends from Brazil. That had come over for the festival. They were wonderful, Claudio and Andelar. And so it was a really fun weekend. But hold on one second. Give me 1 minute.
Elena,
come here for a second.
Vieni qui.
Okay, hold on. I'm beckoning Elena. Hold on.
She's gonna make her show debut?
I doubt it, because
Come on,
you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to be.
Come on, Elena.
You can lean in and wave.
Elena.
You don't have to. Just
Ciao.
That's Elena, everybody. But I need to ask her a question.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Just the house here has reached a whole other level, right? So something else very exciting happened in the last 24 hours that I would like to share with anybody. I'll give
ready.
Yeah, I'll give you one guess.
Go. Yeah. Bueno.
So Elena and I got married yesterday.
Awesome! Congratulations, guys.
That was. I had to top Winger somehow. That's a tough one to pull off. You go to see your favorite band of all time front row, and I'm like, what the hell can I do now?
Yeah, well, you
awesome.
tell her.
Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
Tell her for me, aure. She will understand it. I don't think you will, but tell her aure. She will understand it.
What's the word again?
Aure.
Aure?
Congratulations.
Congratulations in what, Italian?
In Italian.
Yeah. Okay, well, she's Portuguese. Well, she's Brazilian, but she speaks Portuguese. So
yeah,
I don't know if she would understand that word.
Yeah, she would.
Do you know that word? Okay, she goes, yeah, I know what it is. It's Italian.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
Anyway, thank you.
Bueno.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone. We're both very excited, very happy. It was a small private ceremony. We actually had a friend of a neighbor, a friend, family member, consider them, actually married us in a wonderful,
nice.
serene, foresty background, and it was a landscape backyard is what it was. But yeah, so we had some close friends there, kept it real small and stuff like that. So
yeah, I
couldn't invite everybody.
I didn't get an invite.
Yeah, we've had a very full weekend. I mean, it's just a lot going on. So.
Well, yeah, you would have got a beautiful toaster oven from me, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, toaster oven. Yeah. So that's it. I'm sure
Well,
I'll come up.
Nothing big, right, Michelle? Not a big deal weekend. No. This is why we have to let him go last.
Yeah, pretty normal for me.
It's a normal week for Tim. He didn't save any babies this week, but I mean,
and I didn't take out any unruly squirt gun 5-year-olds either. So
no.
Pool actually officially closes today. So sorry guys, got to do fall at some point.
Ours stays open year round. So
yeah, ours is always open. The pool here is always open.
I don't live in one of those kinds of states. I live in one of those states where we actually have some semblance of a winter. So
I'm crossing my finger that we don't have because this summer into fall feels like 10 years ago, where Christmas, and I'm not shitting you, Christmas Day was 82 degrees. And I don't want 83 degrees Christmas Day. I do not want that at all. Well, you guys too in Florida. It's
but I
tough.
love it. I love it.
But yeah,
To me, Christmas ought to have, palm trees, green grass, and able to go to the beach and put your feet in the water. If nothing else.
Christmas lights on the palm trees, Tim.
That's right. Yeah.
I always look forward to seeing the Miami, Florida Christmas parade where everyone's in shorts and t-shirts.
That's
Santa's
the way
in
flip-flops and a t-shirt,
There you go. Hey, it happens to us periodically. We get those unusually warm breaks around the holiday time, but really it just here the temperature just drops too much to really make using a pool enjoyable, and most people would probably avoid it anyway. The kids are back in school anyway, so
and nobody wants to see Santa in Speedo. Nobody wants
it's cheaper for us to keep it to have an off season to take care of the pool.
Nobody
wear a Speedo, man.
No, nobody wants to see Santa in a Speedo, man. Absolutely not. Oh, I know. Oh, let me put this in private chat for Mr. Timmy.
I will be your orator, John.
Yes. Sad news. Something that Tim does on the show, but he has a famous voice, and so did a very famous person just passed away the other day, and a little sad moment. And it was weird because everybody just remembers him for one thing. And the voice of Darth Vader. But I'm like, dude, he did so many other things, dude. I'm like, it's just sad moment. It just seems like we're getting to that age now. Us people here on the panel, where some of the celebrities that we grew up watching are getting into their 80s and 90s and starting to. It's been a bad year this year, dude, for celebrities.
It ain't gonna get any better for us in our generation.
No. Well, not that my uncle wasn't a legend. He was a legend to me. He was my Earl Jones, Oh, Timmy.
Well, let's say hi to everybody in the chat real quick.
I'm sorry.
Tim, we got a light crowd. We got a light crowd tonight, but I still love to recognize everybody. So we don't need to go with any music.
What do you think about this one though? No, I'm kidding. Go.
Well, all I got to say about that one, John, is hey, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wednesday Night Live show on this wonderful September 11th. Actually, it's a very somber day for all of us, actually, but happy to have everyone here. And so let's go down the list. Actually, he has now coined his own middle name. I had given him a middle name last week. It was Got You in My Sights, but now he's actually coined his own new middle name, his own new moniker. And it was the first comment of the show. So let's see who we have here. And we got Rifle Lurkomatic Man. Lurkomatic. So it's now Rifle. Well, I should roll my R a little bit long. Rifle Lurkomatic Man. Lurkomatic Man. That sounds like a washing machine or something like that.
It's a name for a good washing machine.
It just like hangs out, and then when you walk by with a dirty piece of clothing in your hand, it just sucks it right out of your hand.
Or a dishwasher.
And washes it. We got Dino FB in the house. Good to see you, Dino FB. Not familiar with that username, but welcome to the show nonetheless. And we got the wonderful, as always, Mallory, do it your damn self. Gates, good to see you, Mallory. How are you, dear? Wonderful to have you on the show. And then we got Jeffrey. No Bears Zamora in the house. We got Jeffrey in the house. Good to see you, Jeffrey. How are you? We got Steve, Emoji King Tottenham in the house. Wondering how everybody's day is going. Day's been going well.
Good, not as good as Timmy, but good.
Yep, no, but it's all good. Who else we got? And that's who else? That's it. That's it for right now. So we got a small focused audience this evening, and we will do our damnedest to keep you entertained.
I promise. Might get weird, but I promise.
Anyhow, we got articles. We got stuff to talk about. So
we got articles. We got stuff to talk about.
There's some vaping stuff in here.
Before we get into this one, because this comes up all the time, and with the youth epidemic, but as far as parents of kids, and you are a parent that is a heavy ass smoker, like most of us were. I was a 2.5 pack day smoker, and I started thinking about this, and I know it's a question that comes up from time to time, and how I would have reacted if I had the vaping when my kids were younger and I knew that they started smoking. Would I have done my part as far as saying, hey, this is going to kill you. Look what it's doing to dad and mom. I know it's hard to quit. This is an alternative. So I'm kind of curious on how everyone in chat would handle that situation today. Like you get home, you find out your kid's already a pack and a half a day smoker. You are vaping, but somehow he picked up on smoking earlier when you were a smoker. And how would you treat that situation, Tim? I know it's kind of it's a kind of a question that we're all kind of afraid to answer the way we feel like we should answer it. So how does Tim handle little Timmy?
All I can do is look at myself and look at my behavior. I think as hard as parents try, I mean, I think if a parent chooses to stay engaged with their kid on an honest level, dare I say, some parents are able to build some wonderful relationships with their kids almost to the level of being like a best friend kind of thing. But I do think that, all parents experience their own challenges with their kids. Kids are kids, they're all influenced by different things, but I would look at my behavior as sort of a metric for that. And understand that, as much advice as I could possibly give to the positive and encourage them to stay away from this, don't get engaged with that, don't do like I did, all the basic standard lessons. You have to be open to the idea that the kids are still going to try things, experiment with things, and do stuff. Now, I think I would be a little bit harsher if it was on the level of, say, a dangerous drug or an opiate or something like that. Like that, I certainly would not stand for that. But I would be realistic in my approach that, yes, there's a chance they try alcohol and in turn find out that they have chosen smoking. And so I would certainly start that speech off with, well, I would really, I'm a little disappointed in the sense that, maybe I led you down this path because I was being the example, right? I'm the one who's vaping in front of you. You're seeing me do these things, and maybe it's encouraging you to try the things, or maybe some of it's coming from your friends. While I can't be in your life 24 hours a day, I would only say to you is that I am just very aware of the fact of the statistics and the damage that smoking can do. And I strongly encourage you not to experiment with that, just because I don't want to see you end up growing up having a tough life with medical conditions or anything that happens down the road. But if you have to, if you insist on, on it being anything, I would much prefer that you would pick up this and, and at least use this, just because, I have information and facts about vaping. And so, that's kind of maybe what I would do. I would try to steer them, towards, like you said, a better alternative than putting them down the path of potentially becoming a 2-pack a day smoker or worse. And it being a 30, 40-year habit.
You have to, I mean, a lot of things come into factor. I think, how long have they been smoking? How much are they smoking? Do you see an addictive behavior there? Is it something they're not going to be able to handle quitting? And when you get all that stuff in front of you, and then you have to make this decision on whether or not, hey, you can cold turkey it, son. You got this. You're young. You can handle it. But I think you need to also remember your experiences as well. And when you were trying to, you know, the 150th time that you tried to quit, you know, and all the little tricks and things that you have gone through, you know. My daughter came home from school, you know, first grade. Dad, you know, you need to quit smoking. Try this trick. And she told me to put a rubber band on my wrist. And every time I wanted a cigarette, snap the rubber band. My wrist was black and blue, man. I was just like, I love you, sweetheart, but this is harder than you think for me to quit. So I think a lot of that goes into how does Michelle handle that situation, Michelle?
You know, I started at such a young age. I mean,
Yeah.
at 9, and I found how much it helped me. I would go at it that way and, you know, say, I understand that you know, that yes, I've done this around you, but I've done it around you on purpose,
Yeah.
you know, because I could go outside, you know, I could do it while you're only not around me, but I don't think that's the way personally I would
Mm.
handle it. I mean, I would want them to see the difference in me and always be reminding them that, you know, it does help. And if they need it, I'd encourage them to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
personally, I would, you know,
Well,
that's
it,
just me though.
yeah, it could open the door to because I think it all starts with communication, right? I mean,
Exactly. Exactly.
you know, for me, you know, obviously when I was, you know, my parents were, you know, they had their couple drinks after work, but they weren't alcoholics or anything like that. My dad smoked a pipe, and I was aware of the fact that he had smoked cigarettes in the past, and I had no interest in even smoking a pipe going into that. But if the communication is there, if the trust is there, and it's
Right.
open and honest, it could lead to something even more uh beautiful, in the sense that, you know, you can say,
Mhm.
hey, look, I don't want to see you take up the same habits that I took. What do you say we quit together? Let's do it together, and then we'll make this a team effort, and
Right.
sort of, you know, bring it back and make it a bit of a family affair, and it could in turn end up, you know, helping you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's important too because it kind of opens up down the road, you know, the door for communication on whether it's vaping or drugs or alcohol later on down the road. So
Right.
having that ability to have that conversation about cigarettes and vaping, I could open that door down the road later when they really when they really should come to you for help, but are afraid to because you know
Right.
the way you handled it previously. So yeah, so for me it's the same thing. I mean, I would ask him, how long have you been smoking, how much have you been smoking, because if he's smoking, if my child is, there's, for me it's the level of where they're at on where I make my decision on whether I introduce them to a vaping. And if he's smoking 2 cigarettes a week, I think there's an other alternative than vaping, than starting vaping. That you should be able to cold turkey at 2 cigarettes a week. If you're smoking 2 cigarettes a week, I don't consider that a habit. But if
No.
you know, if you're a half a pack a day smoker, or a half a pack a day, or half a pack a month a smoker, yeah, I think you're starting to build up that the addiction level to cigarettes. And if the alternative, if you feel your child can't achieve that goal of quitting, then yeah, I mean, for me, I know it sucks, but you know, I would rather them be vaping than you know, purchasing
Right.
cigarettes, you know, and smoking behind my back.
Yep.
So yeah,
Exactly. As long as they respect the idea of harm reduction, you
yeah,
know, and I would, you know, applaud them, you know,
yeah,
for doing that instead of other things.
yeah,
And, you know, I think they would get that because
yeah,
saving their own life is pretty big deal, you
yeah.
know. And while some
Michelle,
people
what do you
may,
do? What do you do as a parent when you have an 18-year-old at home that's smoking? And it's just like, now, do you really have a voice? I mean, you know,
right?
in a way you do, yes, because they still live under your roof and you should still
Well,
have a voice, but
but
really,
you
do you
don't.
really have a voice anymore? I mean,
You
I've
don't.
had them reach that age where it's just like all of a sudden it's like, yeah, whatever, dad, you know, and walk
Yeah.
away from me. But how do you tell an 18-year-old, you know, you can't smoke, you know, you
Well,
should
that's
quit
just
smoking?
it. You really don't have that. So if you have that as a younger kid and you've already had that discussion, they already know what your
Yeah,
feelings are,
yeah,
and they know that, you know, you didn't blow it up out of, you know, to some
yeah.
unrealistic, you know, desire or whatever words I'm looking for here. It
Yeah,
just doesn't.
ask Tim.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
But you know, as long as they understand that vaping is better for them, then you know, even if they're smoking right now, at least they're open to that. They're
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
that's better than nothing. That's more than what we had. We didn't have
Yeah.
vaping when I started, you know. So
Yeah. Well,
we
for me
switched,
too, is I can't
you know.
stand that thing. Well, Tim said it, you know, earlier, the best friend, the cool parent. I'm not being a cool parent. I'm being a concerned parent and suggesting a better alternative than a pack of cigarettes every day. And if someone that is outside of my family can't understand that, then that's their problem. That's how I look at it. I'm sharing what I know, my information on an alternative that is better than what they're doing, and it's going to not kill them, and not later on down the road when they're in their 30s and 40s realizing that they got a 2-pack a day habit. And you know, you're starting to see the signs of, you know, cigarette use and what it does to your face and your attitude, your body. And so for me, sharing an alternative as a parent vaping doesn't mean that I'm trying to be the cool parent. I'm trying to be the smart parent.
Yeah, well, like so my approach was not about giving, you know, the kid a star for the day,
Right.
you
Right.
know,
No, I
and
know.
and and
Yeah.
and implying that, you know, smoking was a good thing, you know,
Yeah.
or giving them a prize for that. I just think that the one thing that most parents or I feel like, looking from the outside in, you know, as hard as you try to encourage a kid to make better choices or wise decisions,
Right.
and not get mixed up in things that they shouldn't really be getting mixed up in. You know, you can preach to that day in and day out, and
Yeah.
you can be as ornery or kind about it as you want to be, but the realization that you find out your kid is engaged in something, you know, and then you have to look at that situation and you go, well, I can't watch him when he goes out with his friends on Friday night. I can't
Right.
be there during the school day all day long and seeing what he's doing. You
Right.
know, I mean, if he's, you know, being a little nefarious and sneaking out of class or whatever, or going to his friend's house after school and getting in the cabinet and doing stuff they shouldn't be doing. I think at that point you have to at least, you know, even with the caveat that I would really be happy if you didn't do that at all. But if
Mhm.
you are going to do something and it comes to that, I would prefer you use this rather than that.
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
Go ahead, Timmy. I got you got
Yep.
the article open, right?
Now,
I just wanted to touch a
now that
little bit on that.
a
Yeah.
parentless dude is just giving all this parental advice.
No, but you know, I'm assuming all three of us grew up with, you know, Gen, whatever they were, parents, Gen, come on,
Old farts.
Gen,
I
old
don't
stuff.
know anymore. I'm somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not a
think that was
boomer.
before
I'm not a
them.
boomer. I know that.
They're the boomer generation. We're not boomers. We're X. Well, we grew up
Yeah.
with boomer parents,
Yeah.
right? I
I
think
think
all of us,
something to that
yeah,
effect. I
we
don't know.
grew up with boomer parents. I mean, they've been through the depression, they've been through all kinds of stuff, and you know, and I like to think that my parents raised me pretty damn well. So, and I you know, and Tim turned out okay, I guess, you know, and Michelle turned out all right too. So, I mean,
Thank you.
I mean, look, Tim knows. I know Tim, and you know, we probably lived the same life style as a teenager. We did a lot of concerts, we did a lot of things. We tested and sampled shit, but our parents never ever, you know, looked at us like we were a piece of shit, or you know, a waste of sperm. I'm sorry that I had to use that word, but you know, but you know, and I think it helped me be a better parent knowing how my parents raised me. And yeah, times are different, the kids are different, each generation is a lot different, and I think my kids are raising their kids a little bit of what they learned from me, and some things that they learned in their life. But I like to think that if you had a choice on whether the health of your child, I think, Mallory pointed it out, I think it should be my judgment, not the government's judgment,
Right.
telling me how I should raise my children. And
Absolutely.
if I feel that vaping, and I know the science, and I've read the science, and I understand how it works, and it's benefited me and I feel that my son has an addiction to nicotine and cigarettes, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that he is not still smoking, period.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
that's what you do as a parent. So,
Well, I mean, the challenge for me is that, you know, I was always, you know, fearful of my parents finding out, you know, something that I was doing that they would inherently vehemently disagree with.
yeah,
And so you know, I couldn't, you know, I'm not saying my parents were mean or nasty or
no,
abusive. They're not in any way, shape, or form. But it was just that, you know, their reaction to finding out I was doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing was a little bit more extreme, to the point that it made it uncomfortable for me to have those open conversations with
yeah,
them on a level that was calm. Like, hey,
Right.
we know you're smoking, but we just want to have a conversation with you. Now, vaping at that time was not an alternative. So it would have
yeah,
been, you know, you quit smoking, you shouldn't be doing it. It wasn't like my dad was going to go, look, you know, if you got to do something, here's a pipe and here's some tobacco and you know,
yeah,
to put in
yeah,
a pipe. It was never going to be that kind of a response, but they,
yeah,
you know, they would just be very angry is a
yeah.
good way to put it, about me, you know,
Smoking.
engaging in those things. So I just never felt like I could you know, comfortably come to them, you know, and
Yeah. Well,
answer, yeah, you caught me, I was smoking, kind of
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Well,
Anyhow.
my parents basically said, "You're going to smoke, or I'm not paying for it." So that was their way of saying, you know, you're not getting lunch money because we know where your lunch money's going now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's going to a pack of cigarettes. And bless my grandmother's heart, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but she always slipped me a couple bucks before the door.
She's an enabler.
She wasn't an enabler. She was a terrible
Well,
enabler, dude.
you know, my parents bought them for me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying that was a good thing, but I'm not saying that that was a bad thing either,
No.
because they knew that it was going to happen, you know, and
Yeah.
one way or another, and they didn't want me stealing. They didn't want me, you know,
Right.
that kind of stuff either. So,
Well, as a parent,
it's
you got to think that. You got to think, okay, if we're not getting it for
right.
them, how are they getting it? You know,
Right.
who are they
And they're going
trusting?
to.
Yeah.
So are they getting it from their friends'
Yeah.
parents? Or, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, as a parent, you don't know.
Yeah.
And, you know, my mom had a great way of, she'd look at me and just shake her head. And you know, she'd give me that eye, and man, you
Yeah.
felt about this big, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you had just destroyed yourself in her eyes, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you felt it to your core,
Yeah, you did.
you know.
Yeah, you did. You felt like a big piece of crap, man.
Yeah.
There was nothing worse than that first time you disappointed your parents and
Right,
that
right.
feeling you had inside. And it's just like,
Exactly.
and from that moment on,
You
they
didn't want
never
that
treated you the
again.
same. They never,
Right.
it was just like you broke that bond, you know? And it's just
Mhm.
like, oh,
Yep,
Yep.
yep.
Yep. I know the feeling all too well.
not too well.
All too well. So let's talk about what epidemic? You want to
What?
talk about
I don't know.
what good old Jim McDonald over there, Vaping 360. He had a piece right here. It's called "What Epidemic?" Youth vaping dropped 23% in the past year. Now, I'm sure some government official would like to take that statistic and flip it on its head and be like 23% of the youth population are vaping.
Yeah.
We know how they like to wordplay. Um, so teen vaping has declined again, crushing persistent claims by tobacco control groups and their political allies. Yes, he was on the hot seat just the other day. That we are still experiencing a youth vaping epidemic. Adolescent use of nicotine pouches also remained low. Data published today from the 2024 joint FDA CDC, we know what that stands for. I don't need to read it to you. National Youth Tobacco Survey show that past 30-day use of vaping products by middle and high school students dropped from 7.7% in 2023 to 5.9% this year, a 23% decline. And I still stand on the soapbox that I feel like the whole vaping thing, it was mostly a fad. It was
Right.
just a thing. It showed up and it seemed cool. And you know how kids transition from that's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
They're on to the
Right.
next thing. But they're going to bring back parachute pants one day. I'm
Oh
confident
God,
of that.
no, Timmy, no, don't.
We're going to have a parachute pant epidemic, John, and I don't know what we're going to be able to do with ourselves because
But we didn't have poodle
they're going to
skirts
have
anymore.
they're
So
just going to have shit falling out of all those pockets, and
Oh.
we won't know what to do with these kids.
And
Vaping by
maybe the big jeans. What were they called? Gemco. Remember those?
I didn't wear the baggy jean thing, but I did wear those weird sort of baggy beach pants that had like horrible patterns all over them. They were kind of like the Rastafari kind of beach pants things. Remember those?
Yeah.
They were like, you could find them in every t-shirt shop on the boardwalk at the beach.
Yeah.
I think I probably had 20 pairs of those things, and I looked like a friggin' hot air balloon walking around upside down. That's exactly what I look like. Vaping by middle and high school students has now fallen 70.5. Well, no, bell bottoms. Now those are still kind of stylish, Steve.
Yeah, they never went away.
That's kind of in right now. I know that 70s kind of vibe came back.
Yeah.
But I wear stretch jeans with a boot cut, so they have a bit of a flare, and I have a couple wide flare ones, so they're kind of rock and roll in a weird sort of way. So I guess they still kind of fit. Vaping by middle and high school students has now fallen 70.5% from its 2019 high water mark, when 20% of all students reported vaping in the past 30 days, even if it was only once. They were considered part of the statistic and added to the epidemic levels. Despite dire warnings that only draconian flavor bans and other harsh restrictions could stop the spread of youth vaping, it seems to have petered out.
Yeah, petered.
That sounds like a dad word if I ever heard one.
I think he just ran out of words and just
petered out.
He just said, "Yeah, petered."
It seems to have petered out on its own, as fads do. Perhaps with some help from new age restrictions imposed in 2019. It's difficult to understand how anti-vaping activists will spin these youth vaping numbers to maintain the epidemic storyline, but they will try.
Yep.
They may focus strictly on the popularity of flavored vapes or disposable vapes among those who vape and ignore how few kids are actually using them. Just 1 in 65 students vapes daily. Past 30-day use was reported by 7.8% of high school students and 3.5% of middle schoolers, down from 10 and 4.6 respectively in 2023. The middle school vaping rate had increased slightly from 2022, 3.6% to 2023, but fell this year below the 2022 number. So is this enough for Brian King to finally say it's like for him it has to get to 0. Other than that, we're still an epidemic, right?
Yeah.
Among all students, just 1.55% vape daily, about 1 of every 65. A far cry from the new generation hooked on nicotine described by anti-vaping zealots. As a percentage of those who vape, the daily use number remained about the same, 26.3% in 2024 versus 25.2% last year. Despite efforts by tobacco control activists to create a moral panic around youth use of nicotine pouches and a surge in use, the NYTS results show that pouch consumption remained low, 1.8% in 2024 versus 1.5% last year. Daily use was reported by 0.40% of students, or about 1 in every 250. The report compiled by FDA and CDC scientists does not include cigarette smoking prevalence, which last year had fallen to 1.6%. The third year in a row, it was under 2%. The number one brand is still Elf Bar, even though it no longer exists. Yeah. It's
the Elf Bar. What are you vaping? Elf Bar. Well, that's been gone for a while. How are you still getting this Elf Bar?
Yeah, it's what do they say that when something doesn't exist? They say that it's just an idea, or or there's a word they use when in politics when something doesn't really exist. It's just like not a concept, but you get what I'm trying to say. They're not really an organization. They're just an ideology or something like that. Yeah, easy to use disposable vapes were the most popular product choice among students who vape, 55.6%, as they are among adult vapors. Second place among devices went to Don't Know the Type at 21.8%. Pods or cartridges were the choice of 15.6% of those who vape. Oddly enough, Oddly enough, though,
Yeah.
you don't see the name Jewel in there.
No, you do not.
Nope, it's Elf Bar. Among elf brands, I didn't know elves actually had brands. Among brands, Elf Bar was the most popular, chosen by 36.1% of students. Interestingly, Elf Bar branded products haven't been sold in the United States since a trademark dispute forced the manufacturer to change the Elf Bar name to EB Design more than a year before the 2024 New York Tobacco Survey the National Youth Tobacco Survey was given to students. Most likely, yes, the Keebler elves, Mallory. They do more than cookies. They make more than cookies. They actually make elf bars in those trees now. Wouldn't that be weird if they actually came out? Don't they have a cookie called an elf bar? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I believe
I don't know.
Most likely, teenagers simply use the Elf Bar name as a generic for all disposables, like Kleenex is used by many people to describe all facial tissues. And I can see that. You know, they used it at one time, and so they just kind of used that as a generalized reference. I can see that being the case because they don't know what it is, because that's the number 2 answer. Don't know the name, right?
Don't know it.
Yeah, so they just call it Elf Bar. Not sure or don't know the brand finished second among brands at 31.1%, and some other brand not listed was the third most popular choice. I feel like we should be playing Family Feud at this point.
Yeah.
What is the most popular? Give me the top name of the most popular used vape used by teens. Top 3 answers on the board. Don't know the name. Don't know the name. Everybody claps. Don't know the name.
Don't know the name.
Ding. We'll play. We're gonna play. We're gonna play.
We'll play.
Okay, sorry. Not listed was the third most popular choice. 20.6%. Breeze, Mr. Fogg, Views, Jewel, and Escobar all received more than 10% of the votes. So they were mentioned, just not as popular as it used to be, probably because 2 flavors, right?
Yeah, unavailability.
Yeah, two flavors and unavailability. Fruit was the runaway favorite flavor profile, 62.8%, as it is among adults. Candy and desserts finished at 33.3%. Mint at 25.1%, and menthol, non-alcoholic drinks, and unflavored, unflavored. What is wrong with you people? Unflavored. I guess that's
it's water, Tim. It's water. It's just a water.
The palate? That's the palate cleanser. That's when it's unflavored. That's the palate cleanser. All received at least 10% of responses. I've never heard that. I've never met a vapor in my life that's like, oh yeah, I just love it unflavored.
Oh yeah.
My husband does that.
That's
all he does. Yeah. He lost his sense of taste, and he just started using the PGVG and Nick, and that's it. That's all he uses.
Yeah, I mean that's cool.
Years,
Yeah, I think not having a sense of taste plays to his favor on that one. I think I'm a little bit more privileged in the sense that my taste buds are still intact. I don't know that I could. That would just.
It would drive me nuts.
It would be like drinking a Diet Coke for me.
Yeah.
Like, ugh, Diet Coke. Among nicotine pouches, Zyn was the top brand choice at 68.7%. On Rogue and Velo all received at least 10%. So with that information, do with that what you will. I think it's just more indicators that we really don't have the problem that people would like to drum up existing, and the kids are just kind of moving on, and there will always be a residual. I mean, there's until the focus is taken off of it and they just don't care about the numbers as much anymore, you're probably not going to hear them coming up with these statistics, but something else is going to come along. It will. So the thing that I keep seeing now all the time is this the Whippet thing, the Galaxy gas. Yes, Microwave. Welcome to the show, Microwave. Left you on 1 second, Microwave Oven. Yeah, I'm talking some smack. Well, you have to also understand my plight, Microwave. I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Capital of Coca-Cola.
Exactly, and I'm a Pepsi fan. So I'm already treading on thin ice as it is. So I feel as though, even though I go against the grain when it comes to my soda preferences, I feel that I have the right to criticize the diet options.
I could see Tim losing his shit at a restaurant. What do you mean you don't got fucking Coke?
Yeah. No, Pepsi. I would not
Pepsi,
yell at them for
Pepsi,
not.
Pepsi.
I would know if they said we don't have Coke. I'd be like, right
Yeah.
on.
Give me a
Just bring
picture of
out
that.
pictures
Diet
and pictures
Pepsi.
and pictures of Pepsi.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you
Cherry
just
Pepsi, cherry
no,
Pepsi.
Coke has the monopoly in Georgia, so you pretty much, it's almost like finding the pot of gold at the end of a rainbow when you walk into a restaurant and you go, and now you have to just say it, right? Because you always have to include your favorite in the sentence. And I go, I'll have a Coke or a Pepsi, whichever one you have. And when they say we don't have Coke, we only have Pepsi, it's like you just want like confetti to fall from the ceiling. You want people to come out dancing. It's like you have this, it's this joyous moment.
The happy
It's like
birthday group that comes out and sings a Pepsi song.
Yeah, it's like when you see the people dancing on a Wayfair commercial. It doesn't quite make sense, but they seem so happy about stuff. It's like you just don't understand.
I want whatever they're having.
Don't understand. Yeah, I tried to do the diet route for a bit, Microwave. I honestly did. I was like, you know what? My parents drink it. They're into it. A lot of my friends are into it, especially when they order like a Big Mac. They like to get a Diet Coke because somehow that justifies the purchase. And so I'm like, you know what? I will Jedi mind trick myself into liking diet sodas. And I gave it a shot and I hung on there for a little while and I'm sorry. It just, I just
See, I
couldn't.
started
drink
drinking
water.
diet sodas when it was Tab. And if you could stomach Tab, you'd get to where you actually would like them because they weren't so bad. But back then, I was a teenager and Tab didn't have any, sugar and that kind of stuff. And so that's what I drank. And by the time the diet ones came around, it was like, this is not too bad,
Yeah, I'm waiting for the diet beer. Then I'll make the transition.
That's light.
Yeah, my grandfather was a Tab and a Fresca guy.
Yeah.
That's what he had. The closet was full of Tab and Fresca. I was a little bit more preferable to the Fresca. The Fresca was a little bit more lemony lime. It was a little bit more fun.
I'm a little shocked. I know we're talking soda here, guys, but I was shocked to see what Gen Z's favorite soft drink is. And it's, one that we all grew up with, but it was always like if they didn't have what we wanted and it had that, we went to it. But I'm surprised to see here the surge of Dr. Pepper. And it's just like
Dr. Pepper, yeah.
Dr. Pepper is taking off. These kids absolutely love Dr. Pepper, man. I was like, okay. And then I said, you know what? I liked him. I said about a month and a half ago, I said, all right, let me try it again. Let me try Dr. Pepper again. And I'm a heavy Mountain Dew drinker, not so much anymore. I might have like one or two a week now, but I just couldn't drink that Dr. Pepper. And then there's like, oh, try Dr. Pepper cherry flavor. And I tried that and I was like, yeah, that's good too. But I'm like, I just couldn't get to that point.
Root beer. Now, root beer is my favorite.
Root beer. If it's a root beer float, I'm game on. But if it's just root beer by itself,
you don't like that?
Yeah, it has to be ice cold.
Right.
Yeah, ice cold. I enjoy a root beer in a frosted mug like a beer, and it's ice cold. It's really good. Yeah, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
Steve, me and Steve, Mountain Dew, all day, every day.
Well, no, Microwave said he prefers Dr. Foots. I've never heard of that.
Yes, it's real.
And he said, yes, it's real. Hold on.
Tim is Googling. He's gonna go Googling it right there. Dr. Foot. What is that? Is that
Dr. Foot's Cola? On my blazing internet. Yeah, hold on one second.
Blazing, everybody. Blazing.
Hold on one second.
Well, there's that company that's out in Oakland that's a soft drink maker, and they make those weird flavors like salmon, roast beef, So
No,
yeah,
this is actually there. That well, I don't want to receive a 10% discount thing,
yeah,
or
you
that's I
do.
don't.
€10, which is like
So
12.
it's actually not from this country.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a soda from overseas. So
Okay.
I guess you're finding it. Finding it. Where are you finding it?
You could probably get it on Amazon.
I wouldn't doubt that.
I don't know. Just saying. What are you drinking, Dr. Foot?
Well,
I,
unfortunately, they didn't give me the. It says this is U.S., but I
yeah.
can't read what the heck that says other than the title, Dr.
If you
Foot's
go up to
Cola
the top of
Regular.
the page, should be translate into English.
Nope, it doesn't give me that option there,
No,
John.
no.
Yeah, that's what I said. So they're messing this
Microwave
Dutch
Sticks is in
stopper.
my local store. It's in his
Okay,
local store. Nice.
okay, all right,
All right. All right.
okay, all right.
To each his
Well,
own.
yeah, well,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to certainly give that try that one and just kind of see what it's all about. Now I have been game since we're on the soda thing. I did try like going into the taquerias, you know, in
Oh,
some
the
of
Mexicans.
the Mexican shops, and you go in the back and they got the taquerias in there, and you can get like the Mexican Pepsi and the Mexican Coke
Oh,
and
they're
all that
so
stuff.
good.
Mhm. So yeah,
Real sugar. That's why.
is that what it is? Real
Yeah, they
sugar?
actually use real sugar. They don't use the whatever fake sugar that we're using here.
Mhm.
Mexico still uses real sugar in their Cokes and their Pepsis. So
Makes a
uh,
difference.
yeah, it costs a little more here to get them. That's why they're a little, and they come in the glass bottles. Man, who doesn't
Yeah.
love the tall
World
glass
Market's a good
bottle?
place for stuff like that. Like if you're looking for like, you know, kind of interesting brands or want to try something new or different, World Market is a good recommendation there, Peggy. Yeah, I've wandered in there and stared at hours. Like if you thought a guy could walk into a grocery store and be like completely like a deer in headlights in front of the bread aisle, you know,
Mhm.
try going to World Market as a guy.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you're SOL if you go to
it's
World
like
Market
walking
as
into
a guy.
Marshalls as a guy.
Oh, well, that's just chaos for everybody, John.
It's just like, what's this
That's
guy doing
just
here in the
absolute
middle of the
chaos for everybody.
afternoon?
Yeah,
This
don't
is our time. I
yeah,
get those. That's the look I get from women when I go in there in the middle. I work night, so when I do go shopping, it's in the middle of the afternoon, and I walk through the doors. I'm obviously I'm the only man in Marshalls at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I get
Yeah.
that look like, what is this dude doing in here? This is our time. Get out of Marshalls.
so you just tell them, just say, mind your own business. I have a system. I'm
Uh,
looking for the deals.
yeah,
You
I
should have
always do
somebody
that.
follow you around with a camera, like a video camera, and they'll
Oh,
think
no,
like you're
no.
doing a TV
I
show.
always, I was talking earlier. I'm not afraid to talk to people. So I'll grab a shirt and put it on myself like this and go, what do you think? And she'll just look at me like, really? And I'm like, yeah, what do you think? I need a woman's opinion on this. Does this me? And she'll go, yeah, that's cute. Or the color's wrong for your skin and your eyes. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I put it back. So I use them for free clothing advice too. So
There you go.
I'm not a dumb man. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I don't want to do all that. All right. So since we were on the subject of communication,
I thought you were gonna
one
say soda.
hold on, I want to read what Microwave said. He said, from what I recall, once a year for Passover, there should be yellow capped Coca-Cola bottlers available. The kosher variant has sucrose instead of corn syrup.
Yeah.
I do think I vaguely remember seeing that. I could tell
Mhm.
stories about going to the Coke Museum here in Georgia. That was quite an experience, and I
Oh, I
got
need to
sick to my
ask you,
stomach.
you've been in there. Do
Mhm.
you actually get a sample?
John, let me tell you about the samples at the Coca-Cola Museum.
All
So
right.
first of all, you wander through about 4 to 5 sections of Coca-Cola history, and they do all kinds of interesting stuff and talk about flavors. At the end of your experience of learning everything you could possibly learn about the development of Coca-Cola and its origins, you get to wander into this area at the back end of it all before the gift shop, right? They put you in this area before you get to go to the gift shops,
Uh,
where you get to try
okay.
samples of sodas and colas from all around the world. And there's
Oh,
probably
cool. All
about
right.
20 different dispensing stations that just have stuff you will have never ever tried in your life.
Are
And
you
some of
limited
it,
to how much you can have? Or you just
no, it's
go to town?
unlimited, dude.
Go to
No,
town?
it's unlimited. They give you a little plastic cup, kind of like remember when Richie Cunningham, he said he got drunk and his dad asked him how many beers he had, and he said, well, they were just little beers. He's like, well, how many little beers do you have? And he said 72.
72.
But you get a little plastic cup, and then you just get to kind of meander around, and then they have different dispensers with ones from all over the world. And to be quite frank with you,
That's pretty cool.
you kind of you just start trying a few, and then I'll just say that you'll hit one that you kind of enjoy,
Yeah.
and then there's so many that are just absolutely disgusting. It's like, I don't know how anybody can even drink that. It just tastes really bad. I mean, they'll be but they're not going to be like standard, like cola, diet cola kind of things.
Yeah,
It'll be like guava acai kind of stuff, or like from India or something like that, or something unusual. From the Japanese or the Asian ones tend to be more on the fruity side, like like you see all the candies and people try from Japan and China and all that stuff, like the interesting kind of, it's kind of like that experience. So but by the time you're about 15 to 20 shots in, you're starting to get like, your stomach is starting to bloat. You've got nothing but sugar down in your gut, and you just can't, and you're just like, oh my God, why did I do this to myself? You kind of just feel almost gross. And then you get to cap it all off with going and buying some overpriced Coca-Cola merchandise that you just.
I never went when I lived there. I never wanted to tell you the truth. And I'm a Coke fan. I grew up, liking Coke, but
well, I
never wanted to.
We got the Jelly Belly factory about an hour and a half from me, and that's my favorite tour. That's my favorite tour, man.
I mean, it's a rather interesting walk. There is some interactive stuff. They have like kind of like this sort of smell game that they do, and so they talk about how the formulations were made and the flavors that they use, and so
Coke.
they
Real Coke.
They highlight all of the different flavor profiles that are available across the whole spread of Coca-Cola branded products, whether it's North American or non-North American. And then you get to go up to this little kiosk thing, and they have like this smella thing, where you put your nose down there and they kind of blow a whiff of something up into your face, and you get like a multiple choice kind of thing on a tablet, and you get to try to identify.
I'm trying to figure out this Oreo one. That just does not sound.
I watched some videos on that last night. I have absolutely zero interest in trying that crap. But a lot of people said it didn't, it wasn't like chocolatey. It was just more like
the creamy flavor, maybe.
Yeah, a little bit, but I just
that's cream soda, which I love cream soda.
Well, the one guy drank, and he said it kind of just tasted like Diet Coke.
Yeah.
What's up, Don Shirako Ayako? Good
Donnie
to see you, brother.
boy.
How are you?
See, we had a Tabasco factory there around me, so I could tell you a lot about Tabasco, but it's kind of the same thing,
Yeah, well, we have the Jelly Belly factory right next to the Budweiser factory, and you get to do a Budweiser tour too. So
that actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, go do the Jelly Belly one first, then go over to Budweiser, do the Budweiser one.
Be all hyped up.
Oh, well, the Snowho said right there, he said, just throwing this out real quick, that Oreo flavored Coke's damn good. Yeah. So now we definitely are going to have to at least, well, I'm not going to go buy, like, I really don't want like a whole entire 6-pack. I'm hoping I can find it like somewhere like in a convenience store and get like just a can, and just so if it goes wrong, if it goes horribly bad, but we'll take your advice, Snowho, and I will go in with an open mind and feeling positive about the experience, because I can tell you that the mango Pepsi was shit.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the peach Pepsi was absolute shit. So, and those actually sound like they would be enticing flavors if, mixed with a cola. So,
yeah.
Anyhow. All right. So let's go on to article number 2. I got a couple somewhat decent ones. But I thought, since we were on the subject of communication, talking about communicating with the youngins, the Utes. Yeah. We'll talk about communication in general around vaping, and sort of kind of the hamstring that we're under, and how that regulation and that oversight has kind of put us into a position where we can't really pass on positive information to those that are wanting to get off cigarettes and looking for an alternative and are already complaining that none of the other methodologies worked. So let's talk about this one. I fortunately for you guys, I am not going to read the entire full article,
Timmy,
where I could probably pull it off. I think I would drive you into Sans Z's at some point. So I'm just going to read the cliff noted elements, and there's a link in here if you guys wanted to read the whole thing, if you were looking for some late night, bedtime story reading kind of stuff before you hit the sack. So hold on one second. So share screen, and Journal of Free Speech
stories.
This is a hot button topic everywhere we go. Free speech. This is from reason.com. Journal of Free Speech Law, Speech Regulation, and Tobacco Harm Reduction. Written by Jonathan H. Adler. Every time I see somebody with the last name Adler, I can only think of Steven Adler from Guns N' Roses. I don't know why. That name just pops up in my head. I just make that instant association.
Thanks for adding that to my head now.
Yeah, wonder if they're related. I don't know. Maybe I should write the author and ask, or maybe I can just write Steve and just ask him, hey, do you know a dude named Jonathan H. Adler? Yeah, you know this dude that worked, wrote an article on reason.com, works for Journal of Free Speech. Okay.
Dude, that's my bro.
Exactly. I feel it's only fair. I get asked all the time if I have any relation to Taylor.
We know you are. You're gonna get me front row seat someday.
Dude, if I was, I would be living a totally different life right now.
You'd be touring with her?
No, I'd probably have I'd probably have a McLaren. I'd be, in a big old mansion with a pool. Anyway, well, I could pretend to be your third cousin removed, and I'm falling on hard times. Anyway, moving on. Here's
remember when that's how you start a story with her. You remember when?
Well, to go real quick to Snow, the video I watched yesterday, the guy taste tested the cola himself. He didn't seem all that thrilled about it, but he didn't really say it was like absolutely horrible. He said he could kind of taste it. He did enjoy it, but he also bought the cookies. So they got Oreo cookies that are infused with cola flavor as well. So, and he liked those a lot. So it does seem to have some influence. So this is not the whole article. Here's the introduction. Regulatory constraints on the provision of truthful information to consumers about tobacco products may be having deadly consequences. Different types of tobacco products present different degrees of risk, yet a substantial portion of consumers are unaware of these differences. Existing regulations governing tobacco products limit the ability of manufacturers to address these misperceptions. As a consequence, well-intentioned public health regulations may be undermining the protection of public health. And I think we've been saying that for quite some time. Now, as consumers, we're not held to that same standard. But when you talk about the storefront or the channel by which people use to get more information about vaping, especially a consequential vapor, somebody who, has decided to walk into a vape shop for the first time, and even still, older people who may have older devices, and need help and things like that. The communication lines have been shut down. We can't share information that the FDA doesn't want us to, while they can go and say whatever they want. So, rules for thee, not for me. Regulation of commercial speech is a major component of federal regulation of tobacco products. Even before the enactment of the Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act, or the PACT Act, if you want to refer to, yes, the PACT Act. Congress authorized cigarette warning labels and the regulation of cigarette advertisements in 2009, the ones we're all very familiar with. And in Australia, they're 10 times worse. This legislation expanded the regulation of speech, imposed a permitting regime for comparative health claims of alternative tobacco products, and subjected cigarette alternatives, such as electronic nicotine delivery systems, let's just call them vapes, and other vaping products, to the same regulatory regime as cigarettes. Federal regulation of tobacco company speech was adopted to counteract tobacco industry misinformation and manipulation of consumers. Controlling the advertisement, one size fits all. There we go, right? So we all know cigarettes suck. But because we're lumped into the same pile.
Well, wait a minute though, Tim.
Good about them.
It's not the cigarette that sucks. It's the person that's smoking the cigarette that's sucking.
Well, okay, from a fundamental motor coordination element, yes, that is exactly what's going on. But
I'm here all week, people.
I'm just saying it's just blows my mind that vaping is included in the same lumped pile. That you can't even endorse the fact that that it's a safer alternative. Controlling the advertisement, promotion, and labeling of tobacco products was embraced as a central element of reducing smoking rates and youth initiation in particular. While the regulation of tobacco advertising and labeling was considered an important public health measure, it was nonetheless subject to First Amendment scrutiny. Since the adoption of federal tobacco legislation, the Food and Drug Administration has asserted regulatory authority over ENDS and over vaping and other vaping products as tobacco products, subjecting them to the same regulatory regime as cigarettes and other traditional forms of tobacco products. This includes labeling requirements and regulations governing tobacco product advertising. It also includes restrictions on providing consumers with truthful and potentially life-saving information about the relative risks of competing products. Yes, just like those, like the warning labels on the outside of the mod that has nothing in it. It's a mechanic. It could be mechanical. It could be a regulated or mechanical device. But let's not get into semantics here. But yeah, like when I order that mod, and that's all that's in the box. There's no e-liquid in the box. It's got to have a warning on it. This product contains nicotine. No, it does not. Why are you spreading misinformation, FDA?
That's what they do.
But whatever, right? It also includes restrictions on providing consumers with truthful and potentially life-saving information about the relative risks. I already read that. Thank you. While ENDS are now subject to the same federal regulatory regime as cigarettes, they do not pose the same risks. Hear ye, hear ye. ENDS and other vaping products pose far less danger to users than combustible tobacco products such as cigarettes. Yet recent polling shows that most consumers have a poor misunderstanding of the relative risks of tobacco products, and this public misunderstanding is getting worse. Because gotcha headlines certainly resonate across the public sphere and out on social media. So as far as the uninformed and the ants are concerned, everybody here on the panel is having hair loss problems. Michelle excluded. There's a lot of ED going on this panel. Our mouths are full of nothing but slime. We've just got nothing but just a yapper full of slime. And what else, John? Oh, we have snakes and evil creepy crawlies crawling through our brain cells. Oh, hold on, what's that itch? Hold on one second. Something moved up there. And then of course, to top it all off, we're just full of depression and anxiety.
We're just.
I don't think I've heard any of us laugh on the show tonight. Not once.
Not once.
No, we have not been having fun at all. No. So,
so
they've got it all right, John. They've got it all right. ENDS and other vaping products pose far less danger to users than combustible tobacco products. I already read that too. Tim, you know what? Keep up with the program. I need a teleprompter. I need my own teleprompter. I need,
it's in the mail. It'll become
kind of stop it right at the sentence I was on.
We'll get you an earpiece.
Thank you.
Like Kamala.
But yet polling shows that most consumers have a poor understanding of the relative risks of tobacco products and that this public misunderstanding is getting worse. Barring producers from informing consumers about the relative risks of vaping products and their potential to help smokers quit smoking eliminates a potentially powerful tool for consumer education. And that's really what most of us predicate our involvement to be, that we found this. We've looked into the background. We're advocating for it. We're speaking on it consistently, fighting for it all the time. And we would like to pass this information on to you. We can help to educate you. Measures to prevent fraudulent or misleading marketing claims may be necessary, but current restrictions go so far as to outlaw the promotion of information acknowledged by the regulators themselves. Current restraints on truthful health information that could help or encourage smokers to quit are not only constitutionally dubious, they may undermine the protection of public health as well. So it goes on to kind of explain each segment of the essay. It's a rather long article. I'll just sort of cliff note this. I won't read the whole thing. It says part 1 of the essay describes what is currently understood about the relative health risks of ENDS and other vaping products, particularly as compared to combustible cigarettes. So this may be a nice document that you want to add to your repertoire to share out. You know, I don't know. We don't really kind of have the strongest platforms as individuals. So what Snow has said, I didn't read that one. Let's put that comment up. Said vape shops are not even allowed to tell people that vaping is at least 95% safer when compared to smoking cigarettes. We can't say it's a device to help quit smoke.
Nope.
So, yeah, so that's. I don't understand it. Even if you take away the element of health claims, right? I mean, even if you're taking away statistical, components of that, where we know what we're about to say is the truthful thing, you would think that you could safely say that this is an alternative to smoking. It's in the same vein as an NRT.
Especially, yeah.
And I can offer you a variety of those products that to help you find the right satisfying experience to help you eventually and potentially quit for good. All of it.
You sound like that guy at midnight on TV that's selling you the spray that can fix a hole in the boat.
Yep. Well, what was I actually next week, John, I start my new job. I've quit all my other work that I do. I'm not working with the band anymore. I'm not in IT anymore. You will find me down at the local Costco with a Abercrombie and Fitch microphone selling the ShamWow. I'll be selling the
Levi's 501s on special, every size.
I'm going to be selling the ShamWow.
Oh, the ShamWow.
The ShamWow. I'm going to be selling. I'm bringing the ShamWow back. At any rate, part 2 of the essay describes the current regulatory regime governing tobacco products and how this regime has been applied to ENDS and other vaping products. And I think people need to understand that, that people need to be informed on the aspect that, while there is nicotine in the product, that is not actually a tobacco product, and that it is being regulated as such. And so therefore we are held to a standard that is unreasonable, in my opinion. These are nothing more than my opinions. Part 3 of this essay explains how the FDA's regulatory regime hampers the ability of ENDS manufacturers to inform consumers, same thing, about the relative risks of their products and the potential use of ENDS as a smoking cessation aids. There's a period. I thought it was a comma. I thought I had a run-on sentence there. I was about to get be critical of old what's his name? John Adler. I was about to be critical of old John Adler there, but luckily he used the right punctuation. Part 4 explains why this regulation of. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, just making sure you're getting older now. Those could be serious injuries at this stage.
Yeah, hospitalization.
Yep, it's like a time. You're like a
defibrillator right here. It's like 5 feet away from my defibrillator.
I don't know. I don't know, Snow. I haven't followed up with the guy. I did notice that he's been off the radar for quite some time. And unfortunately, I hope that ShamWow the company didn't end up taking a dive just because of one person's representation.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he
it's
died
still
with the pillow guy. He died with the pillow guy.
I was gonna say, it still looks like a pretty damn good product. Part 4 explains why this regulation of health claims may be having serious negative consequences for public health. Yeah, and I think that people need to understand that too, because we're channeled. We're channeled to buy the FDA regulated products under the guise that these are the things that are going to help us quit smoking, and I've got too many firsthand stories about people who tried all of that stuff and none of it worked.
Right.
So you're gonna take this one off the table. It's not off the table, but I can't. You'll have to just here's something. You can figure it out for yourself. That's about what we're left with. And part V, or part 5, explains why the current regulation of speech about the relative risks of ends and other vaping products is highly questionable under current commercial speech jurisprudence. Insofar, I didn't even know that was one word. Insofar.
Today it is.
John, give me a sentence for insofar.
And so far, we have 1 hour and 25 minutes into the show.
No, yeah. The other day I was watching the football game, eating some Cheetos, and so far.
I
was in so far. Okay.
So far,
anyway,
I had to go.
That was a bad joke. I promise you all, I'm not an aspiring stand-up comic.
You get. I don't have it. There it is. There it is.
So they threw a 3-point word in with a word that I had no idea was actually I didn't even know insofar was actually a word, not let alone one word. So hey, if you guys are looking for
the rocker Tim,
if you're staring at your Scrabble tiles and you're like, what am I going to come up with? Because I got an I, an N, an S, an O, an F, an A, and an R. I'm just, it's a word, beeps. It's a word. So you can use
it's a word.
As
if you can use it in a sentence, it's a word.
Yep. As the FDA is prohibiting the communication of truthful information about such products. So yeah, this could result in having a nice little ammo in your tool belt if you want to share something. But this comes from reason.com. The wonderful Jonathan H. Adler and Jacob James Rich, who's oddly enough in his spare time is a country artist. That's a lie. I don't know if that guy really sings country music.
Leaning no home.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob James Rich.
Johnny Cat with Johnny Cat.
Exactly. So yeah, but I do, I mean, to kind of ramble on a little bit further about the whole thing is that, I think ultimately being around this for so long, I never did work in a vape shop. I never did work for the vape industry. So I've had the luxury of being able to share my personal experience and information at will. But I feel so bad for the vape shops that are there doing the good thing, doing the right thing. And to see them not really be able to properly inform people that walk into their storefront looking for an alternative and then have to give them something and then send them on the way. But John, if you think about it, the vaping industry has changed a little bit. It might be easier to ask a couple questions and then just turn around and go grab something off the shelf and go, this would be a good start. You know what I mean? And it's much simpler now. I mean, if
what's lovely is, and I know I've ran into this when this was first, the law was changed, but they can't stop the customer from telling the person next to them how well.
That's right.
Well, that's
love when I go into a store because I'm the first one. It says, and they'll say like this, and I'll say, but you really want this one because, or if you're looking for this, you might try that one first,
Well, I was thinking about, what you could your business could come up with a system, where you could have like legit, like have like a punch clock right behind the counter, and then when the customer comes up and asks a question, you just pull your punch card and you go and clock out, walk to the other side of the counter, and then share all the information that you want. And then when you're done, with the little, 10, 15 minute, like if it was me, I would get that and that and that. And then you've got this and this and this and this. Okay, you got it? Are you good? Are you good? Okay. And then you walk back behind the counter and you punch back in. And then you're on the clock and you didn't do anything wrong. Technically, you didn't do anything wrong. You were off the clock.
I took my 10-minute break.
Exactly. I mean, just because your name is on the payroll, you weren't getting paid at that moment in time.
Yep.
And then
I
you
like
buffer that, you know, you give like, you know, an MOA like bonus incentive, you know what I mean? Like you get them their money on the back end and go, well, you know, he sold 500 units today. He gets a bonus, and that
would be great. Yeah.
makes up for the time
that
lost.
brings me back to my budget days when I was a customer service in the front there running cars out. We weren't allowed to call it insurance. We couldn't call it insurance. You know, you couldn't say, would you like to buy some insurance? We'd always call it coverage. And if you got caught saying insurance, you got docked for it. That's what that brings me back to.
Well, I think that's the thing. So, Peggy, I mean, really, who's monitoring that, right? I mean, what do you have FDA agents or DEA agents standing outside the business? And as soon as the customer walks out the door, all of a sudden you got like somebody would flash a badge and put you in the back of a car and grill you for an hour on what the guy on the inside. What did he tell you?
95%.
Did he use any of these phrases? It's 95% safer. Did he use that one? Oh, okay. Make a little couple notes in the notebook and then be like, thank you for your time. Okay. And then go in and then slap fines all over the place.
I'm finding you $500.
Yeah, I just, you know, you gotta imagine. It's like
he finds you and then he buys a vape kit.
Well, yeah, it's just sort of comical because, you know, I mean, I was never a big vape shop guy myself, but I mean, you know, I would have appreciated that
a little help,
just to be able to go in there. And at the time when I started, I could.
Yeah, I loved it when I first started going into them. Yes, everyone knows my story. The first time I went there, I felt out of place because I wasn't being served and I had cash, but this was a place that mixed their own stuff and they had like 300-400 different flavors and they had this big book and they had a sample bar. So everyone's in there sampling shit and I'm standing there with cash in my hand trying to get his attention. And I felt a little bit, but after a while of going in there, it was nice, you know, because I was just making that transition into making my own coils. So it was nice being able to sit back there and have that person behind the counter show me how to wrap a coil, explain to me how to wick it, and give me those little details and introduce me to RDAs. You know, I think if that wasn't part of that, I don't know if I would have made that transition on my own because I felt like it was a very difficult thing and inconvenient for myself to be able to, you know, take the time to sit down and make a coil and re-wick it and all this other stuff. But without that kid, and he was a kid because he was 18, that felt bad. And he got fired as soon as the new regulations went in because he wasn't allowed to work at the shop anymore because he was 18. And he made all their coils and he was such a good kid. And he explained how everything works and what type of cotton he used and, you know, with the different, you know, the different metals that were available. You know, nickel was a big wire back then and how not to use it and how to use it properly. And, you know, with the temp control and I guess having all that, I mean, without having that, it makes it difficult. Now you're hoping. And unfortunately, we all know because we've all been down this road. Not every customer does their homework. And a lot of them, it's a spontaneous thing. It's like, you know what? My wife has been on my back about quitting smoking. So I'm coming in here. I know nothing. And what do you do as an owner? You know, that's like me and Tim walking into a Dodge dealership and asking what model engine or what engine's in there and them telling us, oh, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you what special features this car has. You know, I can't tell you when to change your oil, when not to change your oil, you know. That would be ridiculous. And to have any business that's limited like that and having their hands tied, especially of a product like this, that's just absolutely nonsense.
Well, let's be realistic.
It's not just hurting the businesses, it's hurting the customer's ability to actually have an enjoyable experience that may help them transition and through and get past smoking cigarettes.
Right.
Well, but look at it from this aspect too. I mean, times have changed quite a bit since, you know, when you're talking about that particular scenario. But I would say like there was probably a crucial moment in time when you know, disposables weren't really a thing yet. Yeah, we had like pod systems and some AIOs and, you know, things of that nature, but they just weren't at the same level. We were still going through the motions of dealing with whether or not people were really into mechs and all that stuff, and then, people would see videos and things of people using straight mech mods and stuff. And then these vape shops are hamstring and people are coming in and they're doing crazy stuff like, not putting the wrong atomizer on the top of a mechanical mod and potentially putting themselves into a dangerous situation, and not being able to. And if they even if they still wanted to travel down that path and and use mechanical mods and make their own coils and stuff, teaching people about things like Ohm's law and using and battery safety and all these other things that were elemental to making sure that not just have a pleasurable experience, but a safe experience at the same time, because a lot of that information came from the educated people who had already been vaping for some time in the vape shops that were using the mech mods and stuff like that and knew what they were messing with. I mean, granted, I think I only really remember like outside of the batteries exploding in people's pockets because they were just just being silly and stupid about what they were doing. There was that incident I remember about the kid who like went out in his car or whatever and didn't know what he had and had the wrong Addy on there, and it vented on him and it blew up in his face. I mean, basically like, just dangerous stuff. But the vape shops, the kid walked in or whatever and sorry, we can't help you. We can't advise you. So you're kind of on your own.
My fellow Artist Liquid friend there, I know who you are. I knew who you were. I had to go look for one of my Artist Liquids. Damn good juice. Sad that company had to go. I had to share that. So,
I don't know how many of you guys watched the FDA and Brian King out there the other day, but I'd like to say something about that. There's a few people here that gave me a lot of encouragement, and I think if you're in one of these states, drop these people a line, somehow, and let them know that you're thankful. One of them was Mr. Guthrie. He's the chair. He seems to understand vape and gets it. He understands that all these people I'm going to mention did. And let's see, there was Texas, Mr. Burgess. He gets it. He was talking about the 2 million a day vapors, and they've only gotten 34 vapes. I don't know if he mentioned the actual 34. Mr. Guthrie from Virginia. I'm sorry, Mr. Griffin from Virginia. He gets it. There was quite a few of these guys. Let's see. Mr. Hudson from North Carolina. He was talking harm reduction. Let's see. There was Ms. Harshberger from Tennessee. She was saying harm reduction, and you're leaving 500,000 vapes still are up for any kind of, getting any decision. There's 500,000 vapes that are still out there that nobody knows about. I mean, as far as they shouldn't know about it. They're not on the market. They haven't had a decision or any of that.
right.
There's Mrs. Miller. She's from Iowa. She gets all of this. She really does. So I think let's see, there was Miss Crenshaw from Texas. 4-year process is way too long for great products.
Yep.
So if you guys live in any of those states, I don't know who is on here tonight, but tomorrow I'm going to try and get every one of these people a little thank you note, because
heck yeah,
they need to be, thanked for understanding it and standing up in front of their colleagues and for us and pointing at FDA, this is your fault, and one of them actually said, and I don't remember which one, but one of them actually told FDA Brian King that, look, you've got all these products that you could have okayed and you didn't. but you're asking for money. If you had okayed these, you would have been getting the money.
Yep.
And you'd have more than what you're asking for.
Right.
You know, and you'd be helping people. So, I mean, these people right here that I just talked about, they all got it. They all understood it. You could see it, you could hear it, you know, so we need to thank them. Anyway, that's my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that lends credence to the fact. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think that
me
there's
too.
one politician under the cover of the Capitol building that doesn't know the shenanigans that go on within the government, and it takes a lot of courage
It
to come
does.
forward and speak up in favor of something that is, otherwise vilified and seen as such a demonized item. But I like to believe that there are some politicians that do have people's best interest in mind, and I think that the biggest shun of all of this came at the feet of adults, because it's all about the kids, all about the kids. Why then? Okay, fine. If you want to make the argument about the kids, well, then let's figure out some regulation or some processes and procedures that could help curb some of that, even though, as we've seen by the data, the numbers have fallen naturally, well, and in a big part fallen naturally on their own, just due to a fad kind of wearing out. And maybe some of it had to do with things becoming harder to get, more inaccessible, even though I think kids are smarter than the average bear.
Yep.
Sorry, Jeffrey, if you're still here. They know how to get shit in back channels and use the internet to get stuff, and things like that. But yeah, I hope that this is a growing trend,
Me too.
from congressional representation, to say, we need to start thinking about the betterment of the people, and not, putting them on a much more dangerous path, because really what it boils down to is, if things turn more to the black market as an alternative for people to go getting products, you're just putting your public at even higher risk. I mean, it's not about the criminal element of it, or people, buying stuff out of the back of a car. I'm just saying they don't know what they're buying anymore at that
Right.
point. And so you're potentially putting people into the healthcare system, which is already twisted and damaged and wrong, and all that other stuff. What good is that doing for anybody, other than people lining their pockets, because now they get to control the scenario again? It goes back to the patient cured is a customer lost kind of thing. I was going to say, I'm actually a little, I know he doesn't probably have the time for it. He's not everybody's favorite, on the docket, but to see some continuing arguments from people like Rand Paul would have been interesting. He did support and stand up for things in the past, especially when it first kind of popped up on the radar, when he's like, I don't know that we're doing anything positive here other than just taking away more things and banning more things. And we don't even know. I mean, it looks like people are getting off of cigarettes with this thing, and it is helping, and that's a good thing. But now we're just going to ban more stuff, and now we're not really helping the situation at all. Not that this guy matters all that much, but it seemed like John Fetterman was on the side of vaping for a period of time. I think a lot of people kind of see wasted time going on here, wasted time, resources, and money over something that's not as big of a deal as it's been painted up to be. I mean, you would have thought, we were all in trap houses like heroin dens, just to get a blueberry flavored vape. It's the most silliest thing
But this
going
gave me
on
a
that I've
lot
ever
of
seen.
encouragement. This really did. I mean, I keep hearing and I keep seeing things, blurbs, whatever, but for these people to stand up in front of their colleagues and the FDA itself and say what they were saying, it, I mean, it was a special panel, so there wasn't a whole bunch of people there. But on the other hand, they all got their voices heard, and I was very impressed with them.
Well, it's good that they have their voices on the record, because
Yeah.
if legislation starts trying to come through, and they are on the voting panel for those particular bills. I think the thing that stymies us a lot of the time, and everyone recognizes it, because it's not just about the vaping component of it, but these, how these judgment decisions and this legislation that they try to push through, they start throwing it on bills that have absolutely nothing to do with the topic at hand. If I could wish for one thing, I would say somebody put forth some legislation that states that if you're going to bring up these issues, they have to be, standalones. You know what I mean? Yeah, like you can't make it part of the omnibus. You can't make it part of a negotiating deal, because that's false representation. You're saying, hey, if
it should be a single issue thing. It shouldn't have to be lumped in with whether or not kids have money for buses, or should buses be taken away from kids, or and now you're putting the strain on the politician. Oh, I can't vote no on that, and I'm going to have every parent out there saying I'm not for busing kids to school. But there's a vape bill hidden in there way at the last page. I think this is an issue that's big enough that it should be by itself.
It should. I agree completely. At least till we get it figured out.
And I think Mr. Nick Orlando is going to take care of that when he runs for governor of the state of Florida.
Future president of the United States, everyone, Nick Orlando.
And eventually president.
That's why I said future president of the United States.
Future president.
But yes, Snoho, is it? I mean, but plug is sort of interchangeable, right? I've seen videos and stuff where people were claiming they were nothing more than a plug. I think when it comes to drugs and stuff, that's dangerous in its own stuff, So I think.
What is the song that is played when the president walks into a building, an office, a room?
The presidential march, I believe it's called. Or something.
All right, gotta go back to your thing. It was
the kids will come up with crafty wording to code it out. I mean, trust me, I've been around the block a few times, and I think when it came to talking about weed, we had like every code word in the name, every code word in the book that like yeah, man, I'm looking for 10 cents, man. I'm just looking for 10 cents, something.
Nick wants Enter Sandman, Tim.
And then we'd be like, is Nick gonna give us the
Nick rips? I just picture Nick
the State of the Union, or is he coming in to pitch in the last inning? What are you gonna do, Nick?
He's gonna rip his shirt off and go out there, do that wrestle thing, have fucking flames shooting up behind him. I'm your fucking president, man.
And the crowd goes wild.
Gonna go nuts.
Every old person's gonna have a fucking heart attack. Like, what the hell just happened?
Nick's gonna put together a special committee to ensure that there are no alligators in your swimming pool.
That is right. That'll be his first thing in office. Yeah. We need to fix the alligator problem.
On day one, I'm creating the alligator deterrent squad. Signing an executive order.
Yeah, that's why I was always wondering. I was like, every time I saw someone's backyard in Florida, it was this huge glass fence all around it, and I'm like, why? It doesn't make any sense. And then all of a sudden, I start seeing the pictures. It's like kids going out to jump in the pool, and fucking 2 alligators swimming in your pool, dude.
Yep, they crawl fences too.
Yeah, they crawl. I saw that video. That is pretty crazy. I was getting ready to say dinosaur, but it is a dinosaur. But the alligator climbing over a fence to get into the pool.
Can we call the new party, Nick, the tobacco harm reductions?
Yeah.
The THRs.
THR.
The THRs. So that'd be the new third party.
Yeah,
that'll be your primary. That'll be your primary policy change.
I like
it. Going into office. Dude, you got my vote.
And every Italian guy looks good in the suit, Nick. So you got it made. You got it made. We seen you in a suit. Nick.
Less filling, Nick. It's less filling.
Less filling.
No, but he's right. Alligator tail does taste great. Like if you've never had gator tail. I encourage you to find. If you live down in Florida, you probably got some buddies that go out and hunting for them every now and again. But
hell yeah!
Get you some breaded gator tail. Tastes just like chicken.
Yeah,
joking.
I
It
have
doesn't taste like
my TikTok news feed is alligators and wild boar. I don't know why I all of a sudden got wild boar videos coming in and these guys trapping all these wild boars. I'm like, man, is there that many wild boars in friggin' Texas? And
they're
I
an
can't,
invasive species,
yeah,
John. Yeah, they breed like worse than rabbits. So
worse than rabbits.
they're nasty. They run in packs. They're destructive. They're
Yeah,
out of control.
they can wipe out a whole field, is what they said within a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, just destroy a whole crop
And
within
they
a couple
leave
days.
they
Yes.
leave little pits all over the ground. They're awful. They're
Well,
awful.
hopefully they taste good because they are
Yeah.
kind
Yeah. Rightful, yeah. That has always been something that's been an absolute positive from the libertarian side
yeah,
of
for
things.
bacon, yeah.
They've always been, and I mean, people may not agree with the libertarian stance 100%, but I mean,
Yeah.
they have been about less government, more self autonomy, and making
Yeah.
choices for yourself. And so I laud them for that. I just wish that the party, had enough, at times had enough support behind them to actually
Right.
make a difference in an election
Well,
period.
yeah. Well, you have to have how much? I forget the percentage that you have to have just to make it to the debate. So
Doesn't mean you can't still write them in, John.
right. You can no. I mean, actually getting to be. I mean,
On the
part of the
ballot?
whole process of running for office or running for president is being able to get out there and be seen. And if you can't be part of the debate process, which is always Democrat, Republican, when's the last time you saw a Liberal Party or any other party being involved in a debate? So just to get into the debate portion of it, you have to have a certain majority of the vote. Otherwise,
Right.
you're not invited to the party.
Right.
So without that, I mean, it makes it very difficult.
Which
I think the last guy that really had a shot at it was the Texas billionaire. What's his name?
Can I
Perot.
finish? Can I finish? Can I finish?
Yeah.
Can I finish?
Perot. And he blew it at the end. I think if he didn't blow it in the end, he would have been a president.
Well,
Well,
yeah, I
That's
do
my-
remember that time period. Of course, you have to be understanding to the fact that I think at that moment in my life, I was like,
Party.
fuck politics. I don't, as long as I can have a productive life and do the things I need to do to make sure I got a roof over my head and food in the fridge. I didn't really feel like politics affected me that much until vaping came around, and then you realized what's at stake. It's not just about you, it's about millions of other people that are trying to kick a habit that's potentially deadly. And
I was having a senior moment there. I lost a flip flop. I was like, I wasn't walking around with one flip flop, was I?
what is
you need to get an air tag.
For my flip flops.
You need an air tag for your flip flops.
I'm having a lot of senior moments, and for some reason, I like them, but I'm having like these deja vu moments lately, like a lot. And it's like, I know I've done that before. I know I said that before. I know I've been here before. And everybody's just looking at me like, maybe it's time you get that checkup, Dad. I was like, no, I'm telling you, I've seen this before. I've done this before. I've said this before.
Yeah.
Deja vu.
Well, I don't think I've quite. I do have some forgetful moments, some absent-minded moments, but that's been something that's plagued me all my life.
Yeah.
So I don't want to equate that to getting old, but I'm fearing the fact that the short-term memory will eventually start to wane a little bit.
I think it needs to be changed. It's not short 10, it's selective. I think it's selective. You choose to remember that. If it's important to you, you choose to remember that. That's how I look at it.
In order
always.
in order to combat that potential decline, I'm going to continue vaping because that supposedly helps people. So nicotine is supposed to be
I can deal with the
positive
ED
influence on them.
If,
They got stuff for that, John.
You got stuff for that.
You got stuff for that. There's a pill for that. So you're
it's a
fine.
little blue pill that's just running around there.
You don't got to. Yeah.
Now they got a whole website dedicated to hymns and hers.
Yeah, I know.
Go to hymns.
Yeah, I do think the biggest.
Your hair fixed, you can get your ED prescription, and you can get help for mental illnesses all online on Hims. Hims is a commercial. No, they're not. We're not sponsored by Hims.
No, we're not at all. So we're not particular. But I do think that the biggest existential threat to your existence is the fact that the flip flop ordeal has become quite
It's real,
concerning
baby. It's
for
real.
everyone here. I don't know if you wear your flip flops to work, but
We're not allowed to have bare feet. Yeah,
I was going to say,
even though I'm
still,
just sitting at a desk. Yeah, it sucks. No basketball shorts. You can wear cargo shorts or shorts. No cut shorts, and a work shirt and a hat. And
so basically, what you're saying is you can dress like every employee at Costco.
yeah, I'm shorts every day. I go to work with shorts every day, and unfortunately, I don't know if anybody at work does listen to the show, but they like to keep it a nice, cool 65 degrees in that room.
I thought only old people did that.
No, it's smart because it keeps the younger kids awake. You know, keep it cold in there. You stay awake, man. I'm shivering, dude. I'm literally shivering, dude. I'm like, okay, man. I get it. I get it.
Bring your little heater in there. That's what I would do.
Oh yeah, no, it's like all I say to the boss is, I thank God I don't have to pay that bill because you're running that AC at 65 like that. Woo, that bill's got to be hefty.
Yeah, that's we are kind of getting to that point, Snow, where things are starting to sag a little bit, you know, and you become literally like your own worst enemy.
Hey,
you know?
that could get you a night in the ER. If it's
Prevagen, folks, Prevagen.
Exactly, yeah. But you know, all of these conditions are absolutely 100% caused by vaping.
Yeah, exactly.
The loss of flip flops, sitting on the boys.
One flip flop. I gotta find the other one, so it's got to be nearby.
I lost mine at Walmart just the other day.
I'm like, we should just all be like Mr. Magoo. We're doomed.
Michelle, I did that. And I wasn't paying attention, but I was trying on shoes, right? And I took the shoe out, and just for some reason, I thought just put my shoe back in the box. And then I put that shoe on and I tried it and I was walking around and I didn't like it. I took it out and I was lost for like 15, 20 minutes. Like, where's my freaking shoe, man?
I was gonna say, Snow, you know it's really bad when you're sitting in the front seat of the truck and your boys end up being the adornment on the back of the trailer hitch.
Yeah.
Then you know it's getting really bad. Then I think you need to go seek maybe some plastic surgery or something.
Yes, yeah. Plastic surgery. Hey, bring these back up, will you?
Yeah, well, you know what? We all have to age at some point, so I'm gonna take it gracefully and
what you can do.
Whatever hand I'm dealt, I'm dealt. Yeah. We're talking like we're old people on the show. We're not old.
Yeah, we're not old, but it's just like you get to like things that didn't bother me before that drive me nuts now. And it's just hilarious. Like, I cannot walk past the microwave if someone's left it at 1. It drives me absolutely nuts. Like, why couldn't you just finish it and let it beep, or, you know, or at least, you know, reset it back to the time? Because I use that for the time a lot in the kitchen. Like, and I go, what time is it? And I have a watch on all the time, but I still look at the microwave to see and it's 0001. And I'm like, no, I know it's not 0001 right now.
It's microwave oven. Microwave. You were influenced by microwave oven. The power of the microwave compels you.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. It's just these little damn things that just now all of a sudden, like, never bothered me before, but now that I've gotten older, and it's just like, why can't you just hit reset or let it run to 0 and beep? God forbid if you got to listen to the microwave beep. It's not going to kill you guys.
Oh, I beat it over there.
I try to beat it every time.
Yeah, and then I'll punch it.
Because even if you open the door, it still's going beep.
Yeah. I punch it and then I open it.
and you don't want that to happen at like 6:30 in the morning when the rest of the house is sleeping.
Oh yeah, screw them.
I mean, it's already bad enough if you have a bad battery in your smoke alarm, you know.
And the light thing drives me nuts. If you're done in there, shut the damn light off, man. I turned in my father.
Honest to God, we used to have a ghost, and my ghost. I kid you not. I mean, pictures would fly off the wall for no reason.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
Literally, we had a ghost, and we had water footprints all over the floor every day. And
oh, wow.
I mean, I am honest to God here, but
I would have moved.
well, we did eventually.
Yeah.
But then we also had the same ghost, I'm assuming, would make my microwave just start beeping for no reason
Oh God,
all the
no.
time. And you know, microwave ovens, they have a piercing sound.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is
You know, and
to get
so
your attention.
they'd
Yeah.
wait till we'd sit down or we go to another room, and all of a sudden, beep, beep, you know, and it's like, oh, what's going on, you know? But yeah, he used to aggravate us all the time. All the time.
No.
He'd get up in the attic and like throw things, boxes and you know, anything that was heavy, you know, it was aggravating.
I have one here too. He doesn't do
Do
stuff
ya?
like that. Yeah,
No?
it's just weird shit. I haven't seen him or her, whatever it is, for quite some time. Everybody knows this story. I'll tell it real quick, but I come into the living room and I have this globe that sits. It spins. It's a big giant globe and it spins, and you plug it in and you turn the little clicker and it'll spin slowly. And I walk in the living room and I see it spinning, and I'm like, "What? Oh, maybe you know my grandson turned it on, whatever." So I go over there and I click it, and it doesn't do anything. It doesn't stop it. I'm like, "Well, this is weird." And then I look at the plug and it's unplugged, right? So I go, "Well, maybe it has a little bit of residual power and it's just still spinning a little bit." So I put my hand on it and I stop it, right? I turn around to walk away and it starts spinning again. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I go back and I put my hands on it to stop it. And all of a sudden, he or she is pissed that I'm stopping the globe. Michelle, I let go of that damn thing and I ran right outside. I was like, oh, fuck this. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't give a shit. I went outside and that scared the living crap out of me. And then in my bedroom, I have this bottle of wine that's about 6 feet tall. And there's probably 5.5 gallons of wine in this thing, right? I'm sleeping.
Cool.
And for some reason, I say to myself, somebody's watching me. I have this feeling someone is watching me. So I open my eyes and this black shadow is standing right next to my bed. And I was like, just close your eyes and it'll go away. So I close my eyes. And next thing I know, I get this little tug. And I'm like, what the hell? So I get up and I swing. And I'm like, you know, of course, I'm not hitting anything. I swing at this thing. And I was like, what the hell? And it's not there. It's gone. So I lay back down and close my eyes. And I'm sleeping on the far left side of the bed. All of a sudden, I get the hardest push of my life. I end up on the other side of my bed, right? And I'm like, what the hell was that? And all of a sudden, I smell sulfur, you know, real strong odor of sulfur. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? So I turn my light on. The bottle of wine that's in the corner of my room, it broke right on the bottom of the bottle. It separated from just the bottom part of separated from the glass. And all the wine spilled on my floor. And I have tile floors. So my mom says that he was warning me not to jump out of my bed because I was going to slip and fall. I go, well, he could have told me a different way instead of bruising me and pushing me back all the way on the other side of the bed. But yeah, that was the scariest thing, man. And I just like, but you know how Italians are. It's like, oh, they're there to help you. They're warning you, or they're trying to tell you things are okay. And I'm like, nope, not this one.
I had a little 3-pound iron that was an antique. You know, the ones that you used to put inside the fireplaces. You know, and okay, it was one of those, and I had it up on top of the kitchen cabinets, and it flew off by itself over the ledge of the counter. You know, the top of the cabinets. Over that, fell off, flew across the room, hit my counter, cracked the corner of it, hit the other counter where you go through, cracked that, fell on the floor, and cracked my tile floor, all within inches of my head.
That's
literally.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I would have been out.
Lucky, you know.
Yeah, I would have been out.
No, I screamed at it. Every time it did something like that, it was like,
you stop it now.
This is mine. You're dead. You know?
You're dead. This is mine. Oh, I love it.
I'm sorry. Cajun came out, you know?
Yeah. The Cajun came out.
But he stayed there, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We will be back next Wednesday with a whole new show. And maybe Phillip might be joining us. Phillip has his girlfriend, wife, has birthday today. That's why he's not with us. So happy birthday to her. I'm not going to try to say her name because I'll say it wrong. Deirdre.
Deirdre.
Happy birthday, Deirdre.
Like
and,
Deirdre.
Yeah, Deirdre. Happy birthday, Deirdre.
And
we will
Tim,
be back.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you very
congratulations.
much.
Yeah, I was going to get the congratulations.
Absolutely.
He's a married man again. He's, buddy. I want to say something else, but I'm not.
That's okay. That's okay.
I was going to do an Italian toast, but we'll save it for next time. But that is it. Thank you, everybody out in chat, for always joining us and sharing your thoughts in the chat. And we will be back next Wednesday. Everybody look at the camera and say goodbye. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey.